For 20 years, our house has experienced a lot.
He's back! Are you kidding me?
Triumph, defeat, heartbreak, euphoria. It's been home to legends, and legends in the making. We've watched homegrown kids grow up here and welcomed friends who became family.
The ballpark is in a frenzy!
Like our fans, this place has developed a reputation. And that's just the way we like it. In a city bursting at the seams with history, our house has had its fair share.
Howling drive, way out of here! Grand slam, Victorino! The Philadelphia Phillies are going to the World Series!
But it's not time to harp on history.
It's time to make more history.
He's gonna just watch it go!
Our team story is not done. It's barely been written.
Something's brewing with this team, John.
We're here for the long haul and the long ball.
That one is gonna be long gone!
It's been a fun 2 decades,
Son of a gun, I love this place.
but this is the only looking back we're doing
With a rainmaker!
because we're tired of knocking on the door. It's time to kick it down.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sorry in Advance. I am your host, Sean, and I am joined by Scott. Hi, Scott.
What's up, buddy?
And we are also joined by a good friend of mine, Ryan, who, in typical Sorry in Advance fashion, we were having some technical difficulties. So he fits right in the first episode that he's joining us. So everything is really according to plan right now. But it's all good. Rye, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm here. You know, it might not see me, but I am here, so I'm ready to go and excited to get some baseball talking going.
It's funny you say that you're here. You can't see it. It sounds a little bit like the Phillies' offense toward the end of the playoffs. Like they were there, but you couldn't see them.
You know, it's still a fresh wound. I mean, you know, as a Birds fan, it's not as hurtful after getting a nice season from that, but. Hopefully we see something different, but I know we're going to get into that. So,
yeah, no, we'll get there. So we're really going to dive right into it here. Real quick, let's get our mothers out of the way. Hello, Mom.
What's up, Eileen?
And hello, Mrs.
Mom.
Mensa. Thank you as usual for joining. So we're getting right into Nick Castellanos being Nick Castellanos. And I really just, as soon as I saw the interview, I was just like, well, making my job easy. Really, just give us something interesting to talk about right away.
It's like 2 days into spring training, and he's got to have a smart answer. I don't mind it midway through the year, but we're in spring training. Have a better mindset.
I have no problem with him sometimes with how he goes back at the media because we all know how media can be here, especially. But really, this one was a head scratcher. Do
they really I mean, the media has every right to question them. They stunk in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean, my thing is with that is, you know, all the extra light that you get on your as a Philly player and coming in as a top free agent a couple years ago and he's had his moments you watch him and he has some questionable at bats, but. All in all, he's definitely one of our more consistent when it's all said and done. Mm-hmm. How do you try to make it sound like there's no pressure? How do you?
I don't. Not with this team and this lineup, and after years now.
This year's arguably I think the most pressure of it all because if nothing happens this year, then what?
The fact that he's saying that there's no pressure just goes to show you how much pressure there actually is. And again, who knows? They'll probably be pressing in the beginning of the year.
Well, and that's the thing.
You're going to look back on that comment.
Yeah. I mean, this is I don't know if he's trying to. It's not in comparison, but if he's trying to make it like the Rollins comment, I think we're the team to beat back in 07. obviously not the same magnitude. Coming out and saying, I think there's less pressure on us, that makes no sense whatsoever. How you're going to say there's less pressure on you when the Mets,
Just
signed Juan
beat us.
Soto and 37 starting pitchers and and re-signed Alonso. And I mean, there are going to be, me and you talked about it, Scott, last 2 episodes, that I still don't think the Mets are, as a complete team, better than us. I still think it's going to come down to us and the Braves, but I'm not.
I just think
thinking
like the
lightly.
vibe. I just with the whole with his whole comment, like I just feel like the vibes are just off after that.
Like,
Yeah,
why does that need to be said?
Yeah,
like you got to go into his head, I guess. Like, what is his thought with that? I mean, is he trying to just be like, the media is what it always is going to be, and they're always going to be on top of them, and they're always going to scrutinize and this, that, and the third. Is that his way of like trying to get them off? Because if anything, it's going to backfire.
Especially because of the fact that, like, even in the middle of the interview, he just kind of, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know the exact quote, but really was just saying how if he's like, it'd be dope if if no one's expecting us to be better than whatever the Braves and the Mets or anything, and we come out and we surprise everybody. He's like, but then again, with you guys in the media, if we don't, then you guys are right and you look good. And I'm like, all right, well, there's your dig at the media. But I don't know. Everyone in this city, I think, is just like,
what are you
your
doing?
window is closing, and it's coming fast, especially for the fact that we have him for another year too.
Well, and the other thing is, I also think that he kind of took a shot at the front office when he said we didn't make any significant changes.
Right. I agree. I think that was a little dig.
I just think, the media has every right to scrutinize them. They've choked the last 2 years. And I'm not saying take 2022 out of it because they weren't even supposed to be there. But 2023, they choked. And last year, they choked as well.
Yeah. I think the thing, too, is 2022 made it worse for last year and the year before.
Yeah, because they went right to the World Series.
They went right to the World Series way ahead of schedule. And then that put so much pressure on them from fans and media,
everyone,
whatever, that it was, it was just, and everyone, then all of a sudden MLB, was picking them to go back to the World Series. And then, and we should have. There's no reason we should have lost to the Diamondbacks. There's no reason we should have lost to the Mets.
I agree. Well, yeah, I agree with that too. It's just like I said, like it's.
Oh, that's
what's up, man?
It just kind of reminds me of like after the 08-09 teams, like they went to back-to-back World Series, and then 2010, 2011, they declined each year in the playoffs.
Yeah, and this is
it's starting to trend in that direction. Yeah,
it really is. It was World Series, it was Championship Series, and Division. I'm like, and guess we make a wild card game, I swear to God.
and guess where we're at too. I mean, their ages are right in the same ballpark where we were at with all our main guys then too. So it's not an ideal spot to be. But just like back then when we had, was it 2012 when we had 100+ win season?
That was 2011.
2011, yeah. 2012 was when they got rid of basically everyone.
I was going to say 2011 was it. That was the end of it.
Yeah, they almost made the playoffs in 2012.
But 2011, we lost. What was it? The no hitter, right? Or I'm sorry, not the no hitter. We had a 1-0 loss
to the Cardinals.
Yeah,
to the Cardinals. Yeah, and it was just devastating.
That was the game that Howard tore his Achilles.
Yeah,
and that was with Halladay on the mound.
It was Halladay. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get back to. Yeah, and now like you have a guy like Zach Wheeler who's playing. I mean, pitching. I might get some controversy on it, but I mean, he looks as good, if not, close to it as Doc. So, when it comes to him pitching, Wheeler.
Well, I think he's the best pitcher in postseason history for the Phillies.
Okay.
I was going to say, like, I think Scott and I did this a few months ago where we were comparing him and Halladay. We were just talking about, like, who would you take? And I said Doc, but Scott, if I'm wrong, correct me. I think you said you would take Wheeler.
I did say Wheeler.
Yeah, I'm on the Wheeler train.
When you're comparing the two, really, it's just like, okay, yeah, I'll take a 1A and a 1A. All right, fine.
Yeah, no problem. It's like Cliff Lee and Roy Halladay.
Yeah.
Like, Wheeler's how old? 33, 34?
Is he that old?
Somewhere around there, yeah. I mean, let me see, Zach Wheeler. He is. I want Nick Castellanos off my page. 34. I had his stats up, and I'm like, we really shouldn't just keep going with talking about him.
He's 34.
Yeah, he'll be 35 in May.
Wow, I actually didn't realize that. I knew 30s, but
I mean, but I'm not comparing them skill wise. Please don't but he has gotten better since he has been here. Every year he's gotten better.
Right.
He's adding pitches, which you don't really do. It's not diminishing his velocity, and he added 2 pitches.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because normally when a pitcher maybe gets better, they start planning the way they pitch better or whatever, their velocity usually tails off. Mm-hmm. Whereas Wheeler, it just seems like if it's not staying the same, it might actually go up a notch or two, as these years go on. But we'll see when that happens. But yeah, he's gotten better.
That's the one thing you can count on is Wheeler, and especially if I feel like in the postseason his velocity skyrockets. Yeah, I mean he was last year he was throwing 98.
Yeah, I mean that's you're running on pure adrenaline for 6-7 innings.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it when he pitches because he's so calm.
But he doesn't lose anything either. I mean, and that's just the advantage of having a veteran like him at that age is just all right, you're not losing control or anything. He's getting so much better. He's locked in. Yeah. And I think him learning 2 other pitches now is him getting ready for when his velocity dips, that now he's going to have to be more of a finesse pitcher to work on that. Yeah. So him aging is going to be all right, he'll still probably throw 93, 94, sure. But to have a splitter and a slurve or something like that, then
I wonder what changed with him. I wonder what changed with him because in 2022, remember he would refuse to throw on short days rest, and he didn't come in for the playoffs. And then 2023, he actually I think he came out of the bullpen in one of the Arizona games. I think it was Game 7.
It was the last game. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder what changed.
I don't think anything. I'll compare it to Jackass in with Houston, Josh Hader, saying he wouldn't come in because they didn't have a lead or whatever like that. And then after he got asked about it, he tried to backstep and everything. I don't look. We'll never know the true story or the full story of anything that really.
Unless they just never asked him and they just assumed that he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, desperation played a part in that too, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, if he really didn't want to, he probably wouldn't have come in.
Well, I mean,
it's a play. But athletes nowadays have that much control where they'll be like, "Nah, I'm good."
I mean, we gotta be the only team that was in the World Series doing bullpen games. I mean, ever.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay. I feel like they were a huge proponent of bullpen games.
In the World Series, I don't think so.
No, that the year that they was it COVID year that they were in the World Series.
No, we don't. I don't count that year.
Okay, gotcha. All right, fair enough. But
were they in the World Series? No, they were not.
That I don't know if they were in the World Series because that's when the Braves won.
COVID year.
Who was in the World Series?
No, that's when
that year.
Yeah, God. Wait, was it the Dodgers or Brewers or Braves? Excuse me. It was only 4 or 5 years ago. Why can't we remember this?
It was the Tampa Bay Rays, 2020.
Oh yeah, Dodgers over Rays. That's right.
Yeah.
See, I don't count that. I don't even remember the Rays being there.
That's right. Because I was just the Dodgers don't count. The first time they actually win one, it's in a shortened season. I was like, that doesn't count.
That's a Mickey Mouse thing.
Is
that the series too? When Arozarena it was something with a play at home plate. Where it was an error or something like that. He was going back and it wasn't even a pickle or anything like that. It was just something weird happened. Man, that was that playoff series, I think.
It was a pass ball or whatever, and
yeah,
it had to get thrown back, and then it turned into a whole big thing. Yeah. I think it was that game.
Okay.
I think it was that series.
I actually can't believe that they were in the World Series in 2020. That's how much I paid attention during COVID.
And honestly, for that year too, there was a lot of unrecognizable players for the Rays too. It was a young staff, young pitching, but yeah, it was COVID year.
The Marlins made the playoffs that year too.
Yeah, I couldn't have told you that.
Yeah, see, that just tells you exactly what kind of year it was.
It didn't count.
Right there. Right, that's exactly the kind of year that it was. I mean, just to close out that first topic with Castellanos, I know he's always been. I'm not even gonna say outspoken, but really just says
but this
what he
is
wants.
really like out of
This
left
one,
field.
I'm just like, dude, like rein it in a little bit because there's no room to talk right now to stick up for the team, or not stick up for the team, but like to talk the bullshit that you're trying to say right now. Like there's less pressure. I'm like, no.
I could see like I'd be all right. Let me put it this way: I would be okay if Bryce Harper said that.
I don't know,
but not like that, like not in that context.
I don't think anybody would believe him anyway.
Maybe that's the difference. Maybe nobody would actually even believe Harper when he's saying that, whereas Castellanos, he believes what he's saying.
Yeah, which is fine. I have no problem. I don't mind him. I just
think it was like the wrong time to say it. I mean, we just started.
Yeah.
It was a weird time to say it.
I also feel like maybe that's also his point, is just like they're 2 games, 1 game into spring training, and this is what you're talking about already. It's the same as when I go on multiple Phillies fan pages and I see people bashing the Phillies right now because they were 0-2, and people are like, this just shows the Phillies have no depth. And I'm like, I didn't recognize one name in the starting lineup besides Johan Rojas. Or I forget who else started the one game. It was 2 people.
Sunday,
and I'm
Sunday was Racoons or whatever, and he hit one out of the ballpark. But
I'm just, I'm like,
people got to realize like 80 different players are going to be playing in the spring that we don't know.
I had a buddy of mine saying, "Oh, Crawford's playing. He's probably going to come up." I said, "How?" I mean, how? Like who's would it, like just because he's playing? Like it, dude.
Yeah,
it's spring training.
He's getting traded.
It's the same as
I would believe that.
I talked about this on the network show Sunday, and me and Scott talked about it a week or 2 ago, with them trading for Jesus Luzardo and them trading Cabo, and they were just like, oh my God, he's a great infielder. And I'm like, he's literally the infield Johan Rojas. He can't hit. And I'm like, and where did you want him to play? He plays shortstop. In case you forgot, which no one has because everyone consistently hates on Trey Turner. I'm like, Trey Turner is signed for like another 11 years. Where did you want this kid to come up?
It's
like
just,
I doubt they're going to trade Stott either. I'm like,
the whole infield is blocked. The only one that's coming up for the infield is going to be Aiden Miller.
I mean, the only thing really with that, I love Trey. I'm a person that goes out and defends Trey day in, day out. He's not supposed to be he should be a better shortstop than he is defensively, but he's always been a second baseman and put into a shortstop position because that's just, but aside from all that, when it comes to Luzardo, because you had brought him up, I think was it you that I was talking to about that before, like on a post, Sean?
It might have been, yeah. It might have been.
I was just saying, like, people were like bashing that sign left and right, and it was just like, dude, Luzardo's a solid pitcher for what we need. Like, we're not looking for another ace. We already have.
Well, I mean, he could be,
but he could be. But I'm saying though, like to put him in as our 4th pitcher, 5th pitcher, like to come in and be what he is. First of all, we can't hit him. I mean,
right, exactly.
But yeah. So I got on the Luzardo track because you mentioned him, but.
Yeah, I'll say this about Luzardo: anywhere he pitches, as long as Taijuan Walker does not see the field.
I know the fact that Topper even gave another positive note about him,
and Dombrowski, I'm like, you need to stop. Like,
does this guy really need a vote of confidence? He's making $75 million.
But it's because that's the reason why though. They're obligated to try to hope and pray that he turns it around. It's done. He's done.
I love that all these articles coming out now, like MLB.com, Twitter, everything is just like how the Marlins have to spend like $110 million, and them trading him to the Marlins could really solve the Marlins problem and the Phillies problem. And I'm like, don't even send me anyone back.
No,
just take him.
I wonder. I'm
send him and
if they'll try that.
Yeah.
Will they do that? You think they would try? You think they'll actually call the Marlins up and be like, "Yo"?
Well, he's having a great bullpen session so far. I mean, why not? I just feel like that's when that's the news I hear constantly, and the praise from Thompson and Dombrowski saying, oh, he's having great bullpen sessions, and I'm like, great, that is nothing. He's not facing a hitter. He looks better than he did last year. That wasn't that hard to do.
No,
to look better. I think I could have looked better than he did last year.
He was.
Yeah. Well, I think statistically anybody could have literally stepped in and looked better than he did. So
I mean, all the
people that we brought up just to take 6 runs.
Yeah.
In 4 starts.
Well, and I think that's
there was an inning where you couldn't even get it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like the people talking about last year, and then like they were trying to compare it to 2023. Like, it was Thompson, and he's just like, it was around like when he's getting back to like that 2023 form where he had 15 wins. And I'm like, the Phillies had to score 6 or 7 runs constantly. I remember listening to the one game I was outside.
See his ERA?
Yeah, and I'm like, you are forgetting the whole entire thing that he was pitching like a number 13 pitcher, not a number 5. The Phillies had to consistently score 7, 8, 9 runs. I remember it was the Brewers game, the one where the Phillies scored like 15 runs because he gave up like 8 runs in the first 4 innings. I'm like, that's not looking better. I don't know what you're looking at or what you're comparing to, but it ain't happened. Hey, Amy. Like I just as soon as they traded for Luzardo, to me, I was like, he's done. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, he's battling for the last bullpen spot. I'm like, can we not do this? Like, for the love of God. Like, how does he want to be
I remember last
to me, that
year
pisses me off more.
Refused.
Well, to me, that pisses me off more because now I'm like, okay, you want to make him be a starter, fine. If he wants to really try and you're going to shove it down my throat, fine. Now you're telling me I have to sit here and watch him, an $18 million reliever who couldn't pitch 2 innings as a starter, come in the 6th or 7th inning? Like,
no, he ain't pitching the 6th or 7th inning. If he comes in the 7th inning,
God
turn the game off.
I mean,
I don't know who's pitching the 6th or 7th with our bullpen right now. So,
I mean, we with Turnbull last year. I mean, obviously he's not on us now, but the way he was pitching, and they were talking about Walker's contract and Turnbull's only really a relief guy. He can only last so long before he gets hurt. Blah blah blah. That was one of the biggest mistakes we made. Was how do you take him out when who cares about the what ifs?
Dude, seriously.
How do you take him out when he's pitching as well as he was? And then after that, he was never the same, Turnbull. So,
right.
I mean,
it is a mentality. And I mean, you've seen it so many times with pitchers to where, like, even having Luzardo now, it makes me wonder, like, okay, during the hopefully we make the playoffs. Like, in the playoffs, you really only get through like 3 starters consistently.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, like, do you really leave Jesus Luzardo off the roster?
I think it all depend on who's pitching well. I mean, like if Sanchez is having a great year and he's pitching well down the stretch, and he's pitching a little bit better than Luzardo, you got to go Sanchez.
Well, you and I had this conversation last year, where we were talking about who would pitch game 3 or 4 if it had to be.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I mean, it might have been how things were ending up because it was like if Wheeler pitched,
we were already down.
We already had, So, but it was like if it came to that, I forget. Me and you didn't agree. Oh, no. We agreed, but it was who I thought, because I said Sanchez should start game 3, and I think you said the same thing, or you said Suarez. I don't know.
I said Suarez because he's clutch.
I said Sanchez because he was hot at the time.
But they didn't want to throw him on the road,
right?
Because of the home and road splits,
right? But I feel like it was a typical. Well, he has more experience, and I'm like,
if they would have just won the first game, it would have been fine.
Well, the Mets had Sean Manaea going out there, and they had Peterson going out there, and just
Mets were coming in hot.
They were us. They were us.
They were us
in 22.
Yeah,
and they were the Diamondbacks. I mean, there's no other way to put it. We ran into 2 hot teams.
The Diamondbacks. The issue with that is, and obviously we won't actually know for sure, but I mean, just from looking at it as a fan, observer, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had that blowout game, and it just seemed like they were like, we got it.
Well, they were still hitting.
That was it.
But they were still hitting in Arizona. I mean, they had the one game with Ranger where I think they scored like 2 runs. But other than that, they scored 10 runs again in the 4th game.
But it was just at the fact that, like, the pitching held up, and then the offense just
sputtered.
They just stopped.
Stopped.
Yeah.
Stopped.
So I don't. I don't know. I look over at my other screen and I'm still looking at the 2020 Tampa Bay Rays and who was on the team, and I'm just like, what am I even looking at right now? Is anybody even on the Rays right now who's on this team right now?
Probably not. I really feel like it was like a farm system team that just happened to, hit all cylinders when
For
the
40
world was
games.
shutting down.
I mean, I can guarantee that the pitching staff isn't on there because I'm looking and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure. Let's see, Glasnow and Blake Snell, we know where they're at. Charlie Morton, the ageless wonder, who the only time he's ever been really hurt is when the Phillies tried to sign him.
How's he still?
He really talk about a guy that like resurrected his career.
Yeah.
And it's just funny looking at it because I'm just like, oh, Kevin Kiermaier. Like, I remember what I was just like, the Phillies should really go get him. And then I'm looking like Brandon Lowe. He's still on there. I know that.
Poor guy.
Willie Adames. It's just funny looking at these names, and I'm just like, wow, look at all these updated pictures on this website right now. Anyway, sorry. All right, that's
I was going back to the Diamondbacks series loss, and yeah, we had that 10-0 win, and you just felt after Game 3 when we lost 2-1 there, it was done.
I see. Like with that though, I disagree because after Game 3. They were.
Hold on, Rod. Do you mean that it was over? Like we were going to win, or that the Diamondbacks were going to?
No. That the Diamondbacks were going to win because the way they were playing in Game 3, it was just like, what's going on? But then Game 4, we were there.
They blew that
obviously
lead.
Had Wheeler, but then our offense completely shut down, and it just I don't know. It just felt to me like even before we even got past Game 3 that there was just a worry in me that these guys just felt like they had it.
And it was like their bench players were coming up. Like the one dude, I can't remember who it was, but he hit like 2 home runs off the bench.
Yeah.
And they ended up starting, and I'm like,
but
this dude's obviously hitting our pitching.
After Game 5, though, in Arizona, when they scored 10 runs, they scored another 10 runs. I thought that the Phillies were going to win in 6 games because they won like 10-5 in Game 5. That was the game that Harper and Schwarber hit back-to-back homers.
Well, yeah, and then when it came to where we were coming back, I think I remember thinking, I'm like, I need Bohm to come out and do something, and then he hit a home run, and that was it. Like that was
that was the only run. That was the only run.
Yeah, and it just was like nobody showed, and the lineup just looked dead. Yeah, it looked like bad swings, no plate approach or anything like that, which is what like I think people were saying for a while.
Which is
like,
funny
throughout the series.
Because I was listening to Rob Cherry the other day and Mike Silsky, and somebody's brought up a point. They were like, does Kevin Long like even have like an approach for these guys? And Rob Cherry was like, I think they do, but they just don't pay attention to it. Like they just don't do it. Like they do it for a little bit and then they go back to their old ways. And then that's it. You can't get them back into it.
I mean, as bad as it was, or at least, recent memory, as bad as I can think, the Mets series last year was
that was bad.
That was rough.
I mean, you look at the balls that they chased out of the strike zone, slider aways and all that. It was terrible.
It was honestly little league like approaches. It was weird. It was weird to watch. It wasn't professional baseball. It had nothing to do with them even not being a good team. It didn't look like a professional hitting team.
I mean, they only had 3 decent swings: Harper's homer, Casty's homer, and Schwarber's leadoff homer.
But I mean, even the game that we came back at home,
it was a struggle.
I mean, I don't think anybody really thought the Phillies were going to come back the whole entire game.
No,
like they looked mediocre at best.
Quality. I mean, I don't know the stat. I would love to know it, but I wonder how many quality at bats that we had in that series.
Probably 0.
Honestly, it probably was very low.
Even Castellanos' swing that won the game, the ball looked like it was 3 feet off the plate, and he
reached out
and he swung so early and pulled it down the left base, the third base line. Like,
you got a lucky one.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just like, at best, it's a tie game. I mean, going into the 10th, but it's just, I really don't know sometimes. Like, I agree, Scott. I think you're 100% correct. It's just like, I think maybe he has information that he can pass along, but when it comes to plate approach and everything, it's the same old. I think I feel like we're going to stick on him because I can't get away from him. Is Castellanos is the fact that like it's like his first year he hit 263, his second year, he was on point, and he only hit 10 points better in his average, but he hit 16 more home runs. He had 106 RBI, so he pretty much, he had 62 his first year here, and then 106. And then last year, he went back to his first year. So if we're going by that, he's going to have a stellar year this year with the all-in-all statistic.
I just think they get bored. Like they do it, like they lock in for a little bit, and then they go back to their old ways, and they're like, we're all right. I don't get it.
I don't either, because it's, like Ryan said, it was just like that Mets series where it was just like their plate approach, it was non-existent. Nothing.
It looked like they were swinging at a wiffle ball.
It didn't look professional. Like it did. Like it's not even about being a good team. It didn't look professional. Didn't look like they were just like going up and just hoping for the best with our approach and whatever else.
I think that's it. It's just like they're going up. It's almost thinking, all right, like I'm Bryce Harper, I'm Kyle Schwarber, I'm Alec Boehm. I'm going to go up and I'm going to hit this. Never mind what the guy's throwing, where he's throwing it, anything like that. It's, I'm going to go up and I'm going to get a hit. And I'm like, there's no reason. I remember watching, like, there's no reason to throw a ball near the plate right now, ever.
No.
And Castellanos, again, is the worst. He's swinging at shit that's bouncing before the plate. And I'm like, dude, like, how are you making that money? And that's how you swing.
But seriously, though, I mean, for the Mets pitching, it's like, why even bother challenging? Why? And I think they caught on to that.
Yeah, it was. I don't
want to dwell too much on all that stuff, though. I mean, there is still, we still have good baseball ahead of us, and Lord hope we make the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, we'll get off the Nick Castellanos.
Yeah,
I didn't think we'd spend 32 minutes on Nick Castellanos.
He really struck a nerve. That's why.
Good Lord. Only player to play 162 games for us last year too, and I'm sitting here like, just shut up, dude. So I feel like the only, I know I have on our little notes here, like the only spring training story right now is
Talon Walker.
No.
Castellanos.
Not Castellanos either. I guess impactful was and now I'm gonna draw a blank. What's his name? He just pulled his quad.
I was gonna say Bryce Harper's TikToks.
I feel like, do you think people really hate them? Like, I know so many people are so.
I like them.
What, the TikToks?
I watch them.
I enjoy it. I think it's entertaining, and he's also.
I'm about to start making banana bread.
I think when he's in, if anybody, any one of them, this is a mental game. If you're able to keep yourself in a lighthearted and positive, have at it.
Especially, well, I think what really aggravated me the most was I saw him make like his Nature's Gatorade drink. So I was like, oh, I'm curious. I want to go look it up. And I looked up the water, and I'm like, yep, that's out of my price range. But
it was expensive.
I can't afford just part of the ingredient of your Nature's Gatorade. So I'm good.
Yeah, meanwhile,
I'll buy the regular Gatorade. That'll kill me in a few years.
With that.
I guess the one storyline is that Sanchez looked really good today.
Sanchez is very good.
Yeah, he looks sharp. He looks sharp.
I have no problem. I mean, if there's anything not to worry about, it seems like it is the pitching staff. So that's a good start. But the only real is injury wise was Wilson, which sucks. But again, at the same time, it's looking like they're saying he's expected to return mid-April. All right. When a team goes in, at least the Phillies, and Dodgers, Braves, Mets, all that, who's making your team, besides maybe one or two players.
Sure.
So this opens it up, obviously, for Buddy Kennedy. Sosa's going to be on the team.
Yep.
I personally think Marchand should be up, not Stubbs.
I agree.
How many options does he have left?
None,
right?
Stubbs or Marchand?
No,
Marchand.
Marchand is none. That's even if he did have one, I'm still picking.
I don't think he does.
He doesn't. No, you're right. He doesn't. But I think Stubbs does. But I'm saying even if he did have an option, I'd be like, I don't care. I'm still picking Marchand because I saw what he did last year. I know he's a better defender
and hitter.
He
is, but I actually disagree, and the only reason I think he's a better catcher by far. It's not even. I don't think it's even close, to be honest. Like, hitting all that, but you don't get reps when you're a backup.
That's the only thing that's on that me.
Well, somebody's going to get a lot of reps this year if JT's playing left field.
That's such crap. He ain't playing left field.
Happening.
Like, I think that's so stupid. And not you say, but I'm like, dude,
if they're preserving his health, then the backup catcher is going to get a lot more starts.
If they're preserving his health, they're not throwing him in left field. I feel like that is so stupid.
It's the Phillies, dude.
If it's a right-handed hitter who has 1,000% hit to right field, I'm still not putting him in left field because it'll be the one time he hits a slow curveball to left field or something like that, and JT breaks something, tripping on a sprinkler. Like, it ain't happening.
And also, I mean, yeah, it's his health, but he is still defensively, if not the best at this point. He's a top 3 defensive catcher.
I just worry about his age. I mean, he's 36.
I always find that funny. I know, like, because sports, it's different, but like, we're all at that age, and it's like,
I know how I feel at 36 right now. I can't squat for 10 seconds.
I stand up and I hear 12 cracks in my knees. So
yeah, I pull a muscle getting out of the shower. Like, so it's Ryan, I think you're 100% correct in that Marshawn needs the reps.
Yeah,
but it's. I just
he's better. He's better in stuff.
He is better, and that's why I'm just like, do you really want somebody like that on the bench? So I 100% agree. I just feel like if with this story of JT, they're trying to keep him, healthier and give him
maybe
breaks.
They start actually. He's more than sitting back. He's actually almost not 50-50, but maybe like a 65-35 type thing, or 65-35.
Yeah, like I think he plays an Embiid type schedule. Like no
I don't want to talk about Embiid.
I don't mean to. Sorry. So not necessarily back to backs, but like day nights. He doesn't catch the night game or the day game. One or the other, not both. I'm saying, but like something like that. But a Saturday night, a Sunday day game, he don't catch. Or go get another catcher. Like I love Stubbs as a clubhouse guy, but great DJ. Playlist, great DJ, cool.
Yeah. But that's fine. He can come in October then. That's fine because JT plays every playoff game. I will say this too. They are gonna. I mean, I would imagine that the backup catcher is gonna get a lot of reps. I mean, if you look at last year, in the beginning of the year, I mean, a lot of games were rained out. I mean, they were playing a lot of doubleheaders last year at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
true.
I mean, that's a what-if scenario, though.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, knowing the East Coast and it rains every day in April.
It rains early in the year all the time.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I mean, I feel like going back to your point with the October thing with Stubbs, because he has a good playlist. But for Martian, it's like that's also a reason to keep him back too, because you can, when it gets to closer to October time, and hopefully we're contending the way that we're supposed to. You bring Marshawn up, and he's the true backup when it comes to playoff time. And he's definitely going to be pulled up during the season too, which again, I guess not really. If he has no option, maybe he has to stay up. I don't know. I'm circling back on my own opinion. It's tough. That's tough.
Well, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, if this is what you're trying to say, is just like keep him in game shape down in the minors, and then toward October, if he has to come up, then bring him up so that he's more game ready.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Then I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I just feel like half the fan base, 3/4 of the fan base is going to lose their mind when Stubbs is on the bench. And I'm just like, just get ready for it. I think that's what they're going to do.
Think
trade JT? Like, is that a thought?
No, they're going to sign him.
I'm sorry.
Like, no, I'm not saying from a Phillies standpoint. I'm saying from your guys' standpoint. How would you feel if they were to trade out JT?
They won't.
No, I know they won't. I'm asking, how would you feel about that?
Well, what are we getting back though? Like, are we getting?
I feel like if we were to try to trade him, instead of keeping him through his contract, now would be this year would be the time to do it.
I mean, if you're trying to win,
I don't want to. I'm just throwing it out there.
I think if you're trying to win now,
my mom doesn't want to either.
I don't think it would make. I don't want to trade him. I don't think.
I get it, Miss Connors. He's good looking. I get it.
Much sense.
I unfortunately want to put this spin on it, which I think does play a bit into it. Is Harper pulled so much for them to sign him to an extension when we had him that I think now you're pissing off your biggest player. Yeah, and that's why I don't think me. I'll listen to anything.
Yeah,
you want to tell me what are you going to offer? Because baseball is so different now in the fact that really the catchers never used to be anything. Really until like Piazza was a rarity back in the day, for a catcher doing that. Pudge wasn't the rarity. Now you have catchers who can hit 300, can hit 25, 30 home runs and be great defenders.
Yeah.
It's just, Jonah Heim, who's a switch hitting guy who had a down year last year. He could hit 20, 25 home runs. JT can hit 30 if he would stop pulling the ball down the left field line and do a double play. Yeah. Adley Rutschman is a stud. It's catchers are different now. So I'm like, all right, what if you get something, whatever back? What if you package something great and you get a stud third baseman? That
was my next thing. That was the next thing I was going to say. I'm immediately calling the Red Sox and seeing what they want for Devers at the deadline, because that ain't going to last.
You never know. Bregman has an opt-out after this year.
Yeah, but I think he's going to want out.
I don't think we make any major moves. I was just trying to see where you guys were at with that. But
look what you started.
I don't see us making any major moves.
I don't. If anything, again, I think they're going to go after a bullpen arm again.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be what they do.
And the Dodgers will get Devers.
Don't even. You want to hear my hot take for the season?
Always.
Dodgers don't make it out of the divisional series.
That's not a hot take.
It is a hot take. They're
expecting them to win the Series. The Dodgers are expected to win every year.
Fine. Dodgers don't make it out of the divisional round. That's
a hot take would be like they missed the playoffs. They're a wild card team.
Dodgers win 80 games and still win the division. That's how bad the NL West plummets this year.
That's a hot take.
I couldn't. I struggled getting that out. So all right. Our next topic, and I don't know how much you guys follow college, but I know they kind of have a little bit. And this is going to be a short topic. I'm not trying to drag this one on. But more in the rules, information, stuff like that. Rules topic, excuse me, is what are MLB or college rules for baseball that you guys don't like? And by the way, our topic of the strike zone is next, so that can't be one.
That was the one I had off the top of my head, but yeah.
I mean, I can't really think of
stupid, something you're like, that's so stupid. Why is that a thing? This is why I said it's going to be a quick topic. I think I'm the only one who might have been overthinking this.
No, because there's so many dumb ones. I don't even know.
Here's what I saw in a college game the other day. Is guy hit it over the fence for a home run. He just missed home plate by half an inch. He was celebrating with the one player, high-fived him. So they threw the ball, tug him, and he was out because he walked off.
Yeah, that's a good rule. You're an idiot if you miss home plate.
It's over the fence, though.
I don't care. You missed home plate.
That's it's one of those weird 101 rules that you just know. You know that you're supposed to do
you're supposed to touch every base.
Yeah, I mean it is. I think it's a goofy rule in general, but
so here's. I agree because it's just why do you have to be told to touch a base? So here's my other one. It's part of a home run. And only because I saw a replay of when Cody Bellinger was with the Dodgers is Justin Turner thought the guy caught it. He was on first. Bellinger knew it was a home run. So he passed Justin Turner while Justin Turner was running back to first.
Well, what?
But Justin Turner never went back and touched first. Bellinger just passed him. So Bellinger was out.
Yeah, why would Bellinger pass him? Why wouldn't Bellinger just say, yo, keep running?
He was screaming at him. But it was a home game, and Turner didn't realize it. So I'm like, again, it's over the fence.
Did Turner get benched after that? Because I would have benched him.
I don't know. I was watching John Boy like replays and stuff like that, and I'm just thinking like some rules where I'm like, it's over the fence, it's a home run. What does it matter that Bellinger passed Turner? That Bellinger's now out and the home run doesn't count. But Turner's run counted. He's got the score, and I'm like, well, it's so why
that doesn't make sense,
right? And I'm like, why does Turner get the score but Bellinger doesn't?
Yeah. That doesn't make. You know what? I still don't really. I mean. Understand the balk rule. I still don't understand it.
Umpires don't either.
I know clearly because I always was taught like a balk was if your leg or something went forward, and you know what I mean when you're throwing over
like
first
on pickoff attempts and stuff.
You're talking about a left-handed pitcher.
Yeah. But
specifically, I'm saying, are you talking more?
Any kind of pitch, like a lefty. Let's say a lefty.
He's a lefty.
He hangs his leg up in the air.
Yeah, I mean that's controversial because there's like so much more specific rules to it, but at the end of the day, it's all discretion. Like there's a specific guideline to balks. Like if a pitcher impedes to, like he lifts his leg, but then when he goes towards first, he has a 45-degree angle. Mm-hmm. He's legally allowed to throw at the first base, but like that's trickery in my opinion as far as balks go, and that should be balks. So like I think that's to your point. It's there's a discretion to it, but like at the end of the day, the rule should be what's up. The rule should really just follow in lines of are they impeding or trying to trick deceive the runner. That's really the overall rule of it.
I just feel like back in like the 2000s, it was just so much simpler to determine a balk than it is now.
Because there's a lot more research and information on how you can like find like loopholes, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, and again, like you said, there's plenty of times that we've all seen replays where dude is pretty much almost pitching to home plate and throws over to first. And it's like, come on, where it's an umpire's discretion, which is part of everything that everybody has the problem with, to lead into my next topic, which is the automated strike zone.
But I had one more point if you had a second.
No, go.
There's pitch count in college, 110 pitches.
Yeah.
I mean, at the college level, I don't agree with that. I mean, I get up until then, you're a kid, but as an adult,
don't they occasionally still use metal bats too in college?
They do, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they should not be allowed to use them either.
Well, no, I agree with that.
I agree.
I totally agree with that.
I agree. Because I mean, with how hard some of these college kids throw
now
and how good some of these college kids can hit, you're still likely to kill somebody.
I mean, you got Paul Keens throwing on the mound in LSU, and you're using a metal bat.
I mean, in all fairness, though, that when we say metal, they're not like they used to be, but like they're very much as close to wood as they can be without being wood, but it still should be wood.
Yeah, it's what you're striving to be, and you're the closest thing to an MLB, whatever, single A, double A, triple A. That's the next level. You should start in college,
right?
Because like with how college players are graded, like when they're scouted and stuff like that, you would figure you want to get that. Like you said, Ryan, the metal bats are close to wood, but you figure in that grading for hitting and power and stuff like that, it is a slight little edge.
There's a slight edge. Well, it gives you a bigger sweet spot.
Yeah. So it's
whereas a wood bat, you have to hit it, almost perfectly,
almost squared, pretty much. So last baseball topic before we get to our top 5 was, did you guys see the actual rule for the new strike zone?
Yeah, you can challenge twice.
No, not the challenge. I'm saying how the strike zone is going to be measured now.
To the body, like the measurements.
Yeah, because remember, I feel like when we all grew up, we were taught like letters to knees or belt or belt to knees, something like that. And now they're saying it's going to be 17% of your height to 53% of 53.5% of your height is the square. So they were literally showing Jose Altuve's strike zone next to Aaron Judge's strike zone. And I'm like, and I actually thought about that. And I was like, man, I wonder, because I remember how Lenny Dykstra used to bat and he would crouch. And I'm like, so that
Or Jeff Bagwell.
Or Jeff Bagwell. But I'm like, all right, so that won't matter anymore, how your batting stance is. So technically, if Jose Altuve wants to squat down and crouch, it ain't going to matter. It's going to be off of his 4'3" stature.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I'm like, wow, so the strike zone really, really, really shrinks for Altuve compared to Judge.
Yeah, I don't.
And also looking at it, I'm like, damn, that ain't a big strike zone.
But I mean, my confusion to that is, I mean, isn't that sort of how it's been? It's just a more detailed version of it.
Yeah, pretty much. What's up, Johnny?
Yo.
Yeah, I mean, it's
a more it's more detailed to what it's been doing, right? I think the way I perceived it anyway, it's a more specific version of what it's already been.
Right. But I guess it's almost like a lot of times like they would have to go off a batter stance.
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of, but I mean, it would influence it. It would
definitely
influence umpires. And especially with the fact that like catchers nowadays all do like what JT's been doing for a year, where they're not even putting the glove up until pretty much it's almost in the gloves, almost, or the ball's.
I
almost
can't
in the glove.
stand that. I can't stand it for a life of me.
Even when it works out for the Phillies.
Yeah, well, no, it's not so much. Not so much for JT, but like at the high school level and below.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to get too much into that, obviously, but your pitchers are still learning. But anyway, yeah. So the way, like you said, like with JT's hiding the glove, he's pulling it up. The umpires do have a very difficult job. Like, we harp on them. We talk about, wow, how did you miss that? And like, let's be real. Like, we're sitting on the couch. That ball is like 2 inches off. Yeah. And we're like, oh my God, like we're flipping out. We're throwing our, drinks or our hats, whatever. Yeah. It's a very difficult job.
I remember saying to Scott, and I said this on Facebook multiple times. I said, if you really want to stop pissing people off so many times, get rid of the box on the TV.
Yeah,
people will not be as angry at umpires.
Get 100, dude, 1,000%. Because if that box isn't there, it looks like whatever call it should be for the most part.
And I think because catchers are doing what they're doing now with that little movement, and because of the box and everything, I think that's why they are trying to accelerate the automated strike zone and challenges now. I think umpires' jobs are getting harder, which there's some where it's just like, really, you can be like, how on earth are you calling that a strike when it's... Yeah, I mean, there was one, it was yesterday, I think it was the Rays guy. Like, the ball was at the dude's head on a pitch. Like, it wasn't even close. And the catcher turned around, challenged it, and it was ball 4. And they showed the replay, and it's, I mean, a foot above the strike zone. And even the manager of the Rays looked over like he's laughing on the replay. Like, what the hell are you challenging that for? Like, it's not even close. So I at least like the fact that, like, it's not... It takes 10 seconds. Like, I have no problem with that portion. Like, if they're really meant to try and speed up the game, that is the shortest replay ever. Even when it's so easy when we see the replay on TV, and it's just like, why is this taking 5 minutes? Like, it's...
I mean, for the sake of the game, I mean, I think they've quickened up the game enough that they can get away with a little bit of that too. Like, just a little bit of extra time or whatever. So
big time.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know. Did you guys have anything else before I got into our last little thing? I didn't want to.
No, I'm good.
Cut off you guys.
No.
All right. So, and this is recommended from the other show that we partner with, because we were in the middle of it, and then they were just throwing out topics, and I'm like, we could do a whole episode on top Phillies. But who, if you want to throw any name out there, would you say is a top 5 Phillies hitter
of all time, right?
Of all time.
The big piece. Ryan Howard.
So that's he's number 1, or he's
No.
I don't want
to.
I'm not saying you need to do number 1 and number 5 like in order. I'm just saying.
I wasn't. I'm glad that you pointed that out. No, I was just throwing in top 5. Like I don't have it in order scenario, but Ryan Howard is in the top 5 for sure.
I have to. We said this last week. I have to agree because I don't think anyone, even in baseball, possibly ever went on a stretch that he did. Like Pujols didn't like that. That 5-year run he went on was absolutely insane.
Him for Pujols, though.
Oh,
even though I love Ryan Howard,
well, you were getting a 45-50 home run hitter with a Gold Glove caliber too. So
I still can't believe that was actually a thing that we could have traded him for Albert Pujols.
I know.
Yeah,
it was tolerated.
Hindsight 2020, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Pujols kept playing after 2011 and still was all right. Ryan Howard diminished after 2011 after he ripped his Achilles. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was starting to go down even right before that injury.
I mean, he only played, 5 more years?
If that. I think it was
2015.
Yeah, yep.
Still hasn't officially retired, man. He could come back.
Football topic real quick, but Jason Peters I saw just officially retired. I was like, I forgot he was still in Seattle, but
so did I. And they stay with their front office.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's right. I forgot you were around last year.
Crazy.
But anyway, did you
see
see the rumor that Gronk is trying to come back?
No, I didn't.
Dude, seriously.
No.
That apparently there's a rumor out there that he wants to come back and might go to the Bengals.
The Raiders? Oh, I thought you were going to say the Raiders since Brady owns them.
No, because I guess Burrow tried to get him to come back in 2022. Dude, I saw it today, and I'm like,
he comes back, and the Bucks. He's technically with the Bucks, right? Like he'd have to.
Not anymore.
No. I'm saying as a retired, isn't he considered a Buck? Like as a retired player?
I think his contract was over.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they signed Brady.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they signed him to like whatever Brady was signed for, how long Brady was signed for.
G-Roll is the Phillies GOAT.
All right, get him off the screen.
So here's my thing. Obviously, Schmidt's on the list. If he's not number 1 for people, he's top 3.
Okay.
I feel like
2.
that goes without saying that he's top 3.
I think anybody should safely say top 3, but I'm with Scott on top 2.
I would put Schmidt as number 1. That's just me.
Yeah, I honestly, if we're just talking like sample size, it's really hard not to put Ryan Howard at number 1 with what he did. It's so forgotten because of how much he fell off, but man, he was it for that stretch.
But see, so here to John's point is, do you put J-Roll on there? I mean, he is the all-time leader in hits by almost 100.
Well, let's see if we can come up with
better than Schmidt.
Chase Utley.
What did you say, Ryan? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, let's see the other names first before I say no, because I think he's itching at 5 if he's not top 5. J-Roll.
Got Utley. I mean, Harper's in there.
I really.
I would put. Yeah.
Get right. I don't.
I was going to say I actually would put J-Roll ahead of Utley.
I don't think I'm putting Harper on there yet.
Would you put Jim Thome?
No, I wouldn't put Thome. Thome wasn't here long enough. I think you forget how short a time Thome was here. And he probably would have been here longer if Howard didn't come up as fast as he did.
Where would you put Bobby Abreu?
Not even on.
Not in the
You
top
wouldn't put him in like the 10 at 10?
No.
Maybe, but not. Yeah,
I'd put him at 10. And hold up, Utley is he is a better hitter than Jimmy Rollins.
He is a better average hitter.
Yeah,
he's a better all-around hitter. No,
I want to make sure this is known. Utley was my favorite player growing up. So
yeah, mine too. I just think he's a better all-around hitter.
Not me being a hater at all. I think Rollins, what he brought to the table as a leadoff, as a big stick, as a just everything he brought to the table. Dude, this is the 1A, 1B conversation. I feel like when it comes to what we're talking about, I just think if we're gonna itch at the 5, maybe they both are up there. I'm not sure. I want to go through some names, but I just personally put J-Roll ahead.
I think they could both be in there. Utley is going to be top 10 for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, looking at it now here, let me put this up here just to make so everyone can see this.
He's ready to come in.
I know what you're going to say with all this, but here's the thing.
So here's hits, but here's the problem. Rollins has almost 500 more games than Utley.
Yeah, but
Utley actually does have 500 more games.
Utley might possibility make the Hall of Fame.
They both do.
Rollins, I don't think Rollins would make it.
I agree. I think Utley would make it before Rollins.
Yeah. So that's yeah.
I do, and here's my thing, and I'm not bashing Rollins.
No, I know you're not.
It doesn't make sense to me how Utley would be able to before or over Rollins, but I know they're going to take into account everybody he played against and his impact. Like it's
MVP.
Yeah,
I don't think that's really going to matter.
But here's my.
I'm just saying though, like that's an accolade that he has over Utley.
But the accolade, yeah. But here's the other thing though. Utley was also the best second baseman for 6 years.
What was Rollins to shortstop?
He was. I don't think he was.
I mean, again, I think this is a 1A, 1B. Like we're both agreeing that they're both two of the best Phillies players in history. But
you had Jeter.
Yeah.
Well, that's American League. You had Tulowitzki, who was very good. Who could?
But
hit.
I'm
talking. I'm taking Colorado into effect in that.
I'm talking though. We're talking the whole MLB, just not National League. I mean, Utley was the best second baseman in both leagues.
Yeah,
in all of baseball for 6 years.
In comparison, though, second baseman hitters are usually not what Utley was either.
Well, I don't know. You had
it was him and Jeff Kent.
Yeah, and then Ian Kinsler was like 4, or maybe.
I'm just saying for being a complete round, like a complete package, like Jeff Kent and Utley were the only ones that ever hit for power and be able to field so well. Like Dan Uggla, I would never even compare to anybody.
Dan Uggla,
I know. But I mean, just looking at these. Oh, there you go. Here, John with one. Robinson Cano. I mean,
PEDs.
Yeah.
Oh, that too. But anyway, here to finish the conversation. I mean, with the names runs? Up here. Well, for home runs, it's Howard.
No, I mean
Schmidt, and then.
Rollins over Utley, right? No, are they like they're Utley's got a couple on him. Okay,
Utley's got 20 more, around there. But I mean,
I know they're
even doubles. He leads the team in doubles, but Utley was 130 behind. I mean, the average too. Not that Billy Hamilton.
Our boy Kruk.
But I know, like I always, they're not even on the page. There you go. There's Bryce Harper making his case. But I just feel like if we're really looking at everything, like comparing them, like Rollins and Utley to each other, it is curious how everyone's saying that Utley would make it before Rollins. But then again, I said the only reason Utley's going to make it is because the new class coming in the next 2 years is awful. There's no one on there that deserves to make it of the new class.
No.
So, I don't know. For me, my 5 is going to be Schmidt. I got to go Ashburn. I would have Howard on there. I'd probably have Chuck Klein. And then my 5 is tough because if I'm thinking top 5 hitters of all time, like my mom even said, she's like, would you put Pete Rose on there? And I'm like, he wasn't a Philly long enough,
Yeah, but and you start to go into the conversation of what does it mean, like, what are we Xing out and all that stuff, but
right. So, I mean, even Boa, like, I feel like I wouldn't put Boa as a top 5 Phillies hitter of all time, Dude,
I think it's weird because, it almost feels biased, but I mean, I feel like the Phillies we grew up watching are all falling into the top 5 for the most part.
Yeah, and that's I 100% agree. My mom would probably put Lazinski on there because that was her favorite player. But like you said, Ryan, I mean, Utley, I grew up watching since he hit his grand slam at the Vet. Like,
yeah,
I can hear that.
Yeah,
Yep.
I wear 26 to this day. Slow pitch
Yeah.
softball, but
Still counts. Still counts, man. All right. Did anybody have any other topics they wanted to get into?
Oh, I'm good. I'm all good.
Yeah, I'm all good. Enjoyed the first show, you guys. That was good.
Hey, happy to have you, man. Thanks for coming on and
get the camera rolling next time. I didn't realize.
It's all good, man. It's all good. We can figure it out another time. It's no big deal. Like I said, we've had plenty of problems every episode that we ever do. I didn't even realize one time my camera just froze and I was talking and like no one heard me at all.
Tune in next week to see what problems we'll have.
See, that's our motto. I like it.
Sorry in advance.
Tune in next week to see what kind of shenanigans happen. Thank you, Mom. All right, everyone. Well, we will see you next week. Mom, John, Amy, Dustin, Derek, and of course Donna, who always clocks in when she's at work. Always when she's at work, she comes on.
That's great.
So much appreciated, and we will see you guys next week.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Later.
Later, guys.
Later.